What's going on, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Jake and Joe Bengals Postgame Show presented by First Star Logistics. And we're going to be giving away a little bit later in the show a couple of those custom jerseys. So keep an eye out at the end of the show for our giveaway winners. And today we talk about another Bengals loss. They're 2-4, and that's really bad. They're on a 4-game losing streak. That's also really bad. But there's signs of life here, Joe. And while the defense lost Trey Hendrickson, and that's something certainly that we're going to have to keep an eye on coming out of this game as far as it pertains to their future prospects, they looked reasonable in the second half, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think when we get to the defense, there are some concerns, some recurring issues that we can talk about. I think they did a nice job manufacturing pressure against Jordan Love, though. We'll get to the defense a little bit later in the show. But we're going to start, of course, with that they seem to have found something on offense in the second half. So next up is stop setting first halves on fire. Remember, we're presented here by First Star Logistics, our fantastic partners who love to give you sweet swag every week. So make sure you're following at First Star Log on Twitter. And make sure you check out firststarlogistics.com if you're looking for work in the Cincinnati area. We love working with First Star Logistics. We really do. They give us a great platform every year. And if you're looking for some work in the Cincinnati area, one of the fastest growing and best companies to work for is hiring. And you can check out those job postings at firststarlogistics.com. And Joe, it was another week where the first half felt frustrating. And if you're frustrated about this game, I think you're frustrated with tackling. You're frustrated with why did it take so long to figure things out, a 55% or so pressure rate for Joe Flacco in the first half. And then in the second half, when they actually were able to protect him, Flacco's getting the ball out quickly. They dial up quick game. They find something that resembles efficiency in the run game for at least one drive. Well, suddenly they start moving the ball on offense, and Joe Flacco, as we talked about in the preview show, when he had time, when he could get the ball out quick, knew where the ball should go, when it should go there for the most part, and played a pretty reasonable football game.
Yeah, I don't want to gloss over the first half. Not that you did, but I would like to spend a couple minutes that.
Yeah, we can be negative. They're 2-4. They've just lost a fourth game.
And it's the fourth game in a row you've been unable to have a game plan in the first half that looks anything like it should score points, right? Like the first three play calls, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me here. And I understand Flacco just got here. I had to keep reminding myself of this. Like, Flacco just got here. I understand they're trying to control the playbook. They probably don't have all these audibles built in, and they're probably not giving them two plays in the huddle like they would for Burrow or even Jake Browning. And there were also signs, I thought, of Flacco kind of like getting to a first read, second read, and then he was almost kind of jittery, like that guy's not supposed to be there, or, oh, he's over here. This is what we're doing. That's right. You could see the process, and the wheels were spinning a little bit for him. And as he's getting pressured, we talked about this, he's not a great athlete anymore. Some of these throws, there's even a second half fadeaway that I thought, if we could just get Flacco to stay in there and throw that one, it'd be great. But the first half, just a disaster again on offense. And you are not going to win. How many games are you going to win playing like that in the first half? You're not going to win any all year, probably. So, you can't have that. It's inexcusable. Taylor's going to say he's aware of it again, and we got to do better and whatever. But, it's part of the deal. But
what can you say?
Right. At this point, after 4 straight weeks of it, something's got to change. But you're right. In the second half, they had their best drive maybe of the season. Well, it's especially post Burrow to come out and take off 10 minutes off the clock. Probably not ideal because they're not getting the explosive plays. But just keep fighting. Things were on time. Things were in rhythm. All of a sudden, the offensive line looked a little bit better. They probably would have put up more points. Also, Yoshi had 3 drops. I thought the run game looked a little bit better than it has in recent weeks, or maybe all season. Might have been their best day running the ball all season. And then Jamar just took over when he needed to, and he was that dude. And he's given us a reason to even watch this team over the last couple of weeks because he may do something crazy. And you gritty on Jamar, man, you better be ready to go on that 4th down. 2 4th down conversions and a 2-point conversion for the Bengals, or else this game is probably unwatchable completely. So they had to come through in clutch moments, and the offense found a way too.
May do something crazy, you say. Thinking of crazy, Jamar Chase has had some crazy catches in his career. The touchdown catch in this game, that's a pretty good throw. But fighting through getting held pretty badly.
That's a flag, right? Well, I thought a flag's coming at some point.
I have no idea how this isn't called. Sometimes refs really do swallow their whistles on 4th downs, and the refs weren't, to their credit. That's not the word I want to use. They were consistent in not calling anything for the most part in this game. That wasn't like a pre-snap penalty, but this is a bananas play from Jamar Chase fighting through DPI to get through physical play at the catch point and just go get the ball.
And
and
a little
nope.
mental, emotional after that third down. That was the lob pass where then Carrington Valentine's grittying on him, and they're talking, they're pushing and shoving each other. He's getting hands to the face that entire drive. He's looking for penalties. And so, that would affect any normal person. It seemed to have no effect, or maybe amplified him. Who knows?
And Jamar's playing through illness in this game, potentially
Right.
dealing with illness throughout the week, sent home from practice after a walkthrough one day before they actually did the physical part of the practice. This is just a heck of a play from Jamar Chase. And like you're saying, like if you're looking for reasons to continue to watch games, at least you have a quarterback that's going to throw the ball to these guys now. Like one of my big issues with the Jake Browning game plans and the Jake Browning execution of quarterback is that you just don't have the targets for these guys that you're paying all these millions of dollars to. And at least in this game, Jamar Chase has 12 targets. T. Higgins has 18 targets. Both guys have catches that are.
Did you say 18?
I said 12 and 8. Maybe I did say 18.
All right.
That would not be the correct number. 12 targets for Jamar Chase and 8 for T. Higgins. 19-yard longs for both players. So at least they had something
close to an explosive
15-yard plays. You also had a 13-yard run in this game for Chase Brown, which is like kind of a garbage time run insofar as you're running the ball with a minute left in the first half from your own 10-yard line or whatever. But the first half, you're right. It can't go the way that it went on offense. The first drive was a white flag. Like that's how it felt. It obviously wasn't. They had some fight. They came back and showed some teeth. And threw some punches in the second half. But when you go from a jet sweep for negative yards, Jamar Chase is running horizontal the entire play. Maybe there's an opportunity for him to cut it upfield and lose one less yard at some point. But he's literally just running horizontal the entire play until he goes out of bounds. Then you come back and you run it. You run it. That's a full sentence. You run it on second down.
You never want to run it in 2nd and 8+.
And Zach, to his credit, doesn't run the ball a lot on 2nd and long anymore. He kind of made that correction several years ago now, but that felt brutal. And Joe Flacco was rough to start the game, like you said. They did pick up a first down on the second drive of the game, but their first half drives were 3 plays, 1 yard punt, 5 plays, 17 yards punt, 3 plays, 5 yards punt, 3 plays minus 2 yards punt, and then Evan McPherson robbed of a 67-yard field goal.
He was right.
Pretty cool that he made it the first time.
Pretty cool. I wish he did. That might have changed the end of the game, actually, too, if you had to think about that. So big play for, honestly, the Packers special teams has been a thing for like 3 years now, and their special teams may have given them this advantage. They signed a kicker on Saturday. He made 2 big kicks, one to pretty much give it a 2-score game at the end, and getting that timeout to erase that 3.67-yarder from Evan McPherson. Margins.
The other thing I would point out, speaking of margins, and I think this is way down on the priority list, but since you're talking about special teams, I'm going to stand up on my soapbox here for 2 seconds and say that the last couple of weeks, and maybe this is because Charlie Jones is hurt, the Bengals return game on kicks in particular has been dreadful. Their coverage has been really bad, and that was the case today. The average kickoff return for the Packers in this game, 33 yards. For the Bengals, it was just 22 yards. Both teams returned 4 kicks. It was pretty bad. In the kick return game, the average starting field position strongly in the Packers' favor. The amount of clean returns for the Bengals, I'd say lately in the punt or kick return game without a penalty where they've had a positive play, very, very low. Pretty low priority issue in the grand scheme of things, but a quiet
worth
issue
noting
that we can note here. Evan McPherson ultimately finishes 1 for 3 on the day. He missed 2 long field goals, 56 yards, that the broadcast made a big deal out of being into the wind. There wasn't much wind. You would like to see Evan McPherson hit that 56-yard kick, the 67-yard kick. I don't really care. It was pretty cool.
I feel much better about him this year, though. Do you?
Than last year, yes. Do I feel good about the overall investment they've made in the kicker position and the production they're getting out of it? I would say so, no. But that's probably a longer tangent than we want to go to today. Let's wrap up thoughts here on the offense. So where we saw Dalton Risner play at left tackle and left guard, and pretty reasonable in pass protection was my intuition there. Orlando Brown had 1 really bad beat, but outside of that, bounced back pretty nicely against a pretty good and athletic pass rushing team.
We have to say this, I think, because it's been this way, I think, all year so far for Orlando Brown. There's been 1 to 3 really bad reps. And so if people have seen like PFF grades, and he's not grading terrible, He's kind of just like floating in the mid 60s, which is passable. He's considered their best offensive lineman. People are like, you got to bench him, cut him, or he just can't play anymore. I don't think that's accurate. He has not been as good as he was last year when he was healthy. He has not been as good as he's been at times in his career, no doubt about it. But it has only been a couple plays per game. And I think that was also true in this game. And I think he's trying to, I've seen on the comments, he could have had 8 false starts. You see this around the league. These tackles are trying to time it as close and as good as possible to get that depth. When he did it that one time, you saw Lucas Van Ness run right around him. So if anything, maybe he can adjust his depth a little bit and get a little bit further back. I don't know if you saw the ESPN stats post about the depth of where each tackle has been. I think Orlando Brown can get a little more space on his on the pass plays, just a little bit more. Maybe that'll save him. He's not the athlete that you would like at a left tackle position, and he's getting older, and injuries have started to mount for him. So maybe there's a little bit taken off there, but he hasn't been nearly as terrible as people think.
I don't know if he can get much deeper, Joe.
We can try. Jawad Taylor's at least a full yard behind him.
Yeah, Javon Taylor might be able to move a little bit better than the injuries that have piled up for. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how much is actually left in the tank for him. I don't know how much more movement ability there is than we've seen from him. But I did think that he was like mostly okay. Somebody just asked about Amarius Mims in the comments. I believe he returned.
I thought so. I thought
Cody Ford only played 9 snaps. So I do think that Amarius did get back into the game. We'll see what lingers for him throughout the week.
It was a run play, though, that bounced to his way. So I don't know if you saw it, but he was still trying to block, and Pirine went to the left knee or left ankle, lower leg.
Not great. Hopefully he's okay. That's obviously a big step backwards if it's not him. But overall, considering that Micah Parsons was on the other side of this thing, along with Rashawn Gary and the guys that we talked about in terms of the pass rush, Kingsley Enagbare, Lucas Van Ness, who had the lone sack for the Ravens in this game. Right. According to PFF initial charting, we have Joe Flacco at a 28.3% overall pressure rate on his drop.
That's got to be the lowest of the year for the team.
Is probably.
It's got to be.
I would guess. If not, it's in the ballpark of the lowest. The average time to throw, which this number will change, but 2.35 seconds for Joe Flacco. And on non-pressured plays, 2 second, roughly, time to throw for Joe Flacco. The ball was coming out quick when they started moving it on offense. So we'll have to see how they take away from this game what works.
Yeah.
And
build off that.
It's another matchup where Jalen Ramsey plays for the Steelers, I guess. But, like, you should feel good about these wide receivers. We talked about this in the previous show, too. You talked about Keyshawn Nixon having a breakout year. And my retort was, you should feel good about these wide receivers against the Green Bay corners. Against anybody that's not, like, a absolute stud corner, you should feel pretty good.
Right. Pat Surtain only. Other than that, we should feel good every time going out there.
Even Pat Surtain didn't have his best game against Jamar Chase. It just
well, I do have one more point on the offense, though. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I didn't know you were still going. Jalen Rivers was an interesting evaluation because I started to watch him because he was getting beat pretty quickly in pass protection, a little lunging a little bit over his toes. And I think, it's Parsons is tough, and they got a wave of rushers they can send at you. Yep. And they were like hiding Parsons and then like going around him. Enagbare, I think, had one where he looped around him and Rivers just couldn't get to him. And then in the second half, or right towards the end, and then into the second half, Rivers was the only guy still trying to run block and push the pile and move guys. And he had like 3 plays in one drive on that really long drive to open up the third quarter, where I was like, if that's what he's going to provide you, that is something worthy to this offense. I thought they had no fight in them until that drive, obviously, and things started to turn around. But part of it was they probably would have punted at some point if Rivers didn't save them a couple times on that drive by pushing that pile, digging and fighting through it. And you need to have that. Watch these other teams around the league. The Bengals are soft on the O-line, and they do not keep pushing the pile. And I'm sick and tired of watching it. And I wanted to shout out to Rivers. You had your mistakes, but you know what? If you're going to do that, it's valuable.
Yeah, he was charged by PFF, and we'll see what the tape says, obviously, but charged by PFF with 6 of the 11 pressures allowed by the Cincinnati Bengals in this game, all 6 of those coming on what PFF defines as a true pass set, which means it's not a screen, it's not play action, the ball's not coming out immediately, it's not a trick play, all those sorts of things. So a lot of it was, I think, Micah Parsons kind of picked his mark and that was a mark that he picked in this game. Micah had 5 pressures for the Packers. The next highest was Rashawn Gary at 4, according to, again, initial PFF charting, and we'll see how those numbers change between now and film and all those things. But overall, I thought that the pass rush was going to be a bigger issue for the Bengals. I thought the way it looked in the first half would be the way it would look this entire game. And you credit the Bengals for cleaning it up in the second half. These weren't entirely garbage time offensive possessions where they're finally moving the ball. And they honestly could have scored 3 straight touchdowns if not for Andre Yosevich having a brutal game overall. But the third and what was it, 6, 7? I don't remember the exact down and distance drop that would have taken the Bengals into the red zone, would have been a first down. The ball just bounces off his hands. And it was a bit reminiscent of some of his drops last year when he wasn't ready for the ball to be on him from Joe Burrow.
And I remember in breaking route in week 2, he had the same exact thing on the back half of the play, backside.
A number of times.
Yeah.
But I think you have to credit the second half. You could be absolutely as critical as you want to be about the first half. You can remain incredibly skeptical about this team overall, because while Flacco provides you like a baseline, I think that's it. You have a baseline of reasonable quarterback play. Again, ball can be out on time to where it should go. Accuracy, I think we saw in this game, still not elite, but good enough. And so it can look more functional there, but you have to get to those answers much, much earlier than they did. On the other hand, where we've kind of been a little bit apologetic for the defense.
Yeah.
And they were on the field a ton early in this game. I think it was like 20 minutes in the first half alone, maybe more. It evened out in the second half quite a bit. And they made a change today on defense that involved Logan Wilson essentially getting benched. He's playing special teams. He doesn't have the green dot anymore. They give it to Barrett Carter. Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight on the field a ton, not having particularly good games in terms of missed tackles and doing what they need to do in coverage. It wasn't great for either of those guys, at least by my viewing, and
it was bad.
PFF backing that up. The missed tackles in this game generally just a huge issue for everybody on this team.
Worst game of the year in terms of tackles.
I would say so, just off the top of my head. And like Demetrius Knight, 3 missed tackles. Barrett Carter, 3 missed tackles. Miles Murphy, 2 missed tackles. Jordan Battle, at least 2 missed tackles. Even Dax had a couple missed tackles in this game. Barrett Carter, according to PFF, targeted 7 times in this game, gave up 7 catches for 85 yards, including one where he really gets caught in no man's land on that Josh Jacobs catch and run on the check down. If you're going to play those guys and bench Logan Wilson, and you're going to spend the draft picks on those guys, quite frankly, you need better than what you got here. Barrett Carter did not miss a snap in this game.
Yeah, he got green dot.
Every single play.
He's linebacker 1. That means if he's wearing the green dot, right? He can't come off the field. That's your guy. You have to play better than Logan Wilson. Like, we complained about Logan Wilson, like, week 1 was good, but then since then, But it was never this bad, honestly. I didn't think Logan Wilson's had a single game as bad as what these guys put out there. And if you're going to do that, those guys better hit the ground running. You had a high grade on Demetrius Knight. You had a 2nd round grade on Barrett Carter. These are representative of your evaluations on defense, and they were terrible today with missed tackles, poor angles. I mean, you had a 3rd and 6, I want to say, one of the Packers' last drives where they do a sprint out with Jordan Love. They cover the flat. They cover the 2nd level option. Barrett Carter's a straight shot at Jordan Love and misses him. And Jordan Love's able to run and get the first down. That play probably changes the trajectory of the final 8 minutes or whatever so is on the clock at that time. You can't have that. We need the big plays when they're there, when they're called correctly, when the play call's right, when the scheme's correct. You got to make them. That Josh Jacobs' 2nd touchdown run, absolutely insane that both defensive tackles get doubled. Both linebackers go out wide. You're in too high safety shell, and neither of them want to come up. That is as soft and as weak you can be right in the heart of your defense. It's bad. And, Jordan Battle I'd like to bring up as well, because he's been the beneficiary, created a lot of turnovers this year for the defense, and that has kept him afloat. And I like how physical he can be at times. He can hit hard. He can be a short tackler. Today, he looked soft again. And I hate throwing that word around, but when you're hesitant at the point to tackle somebody, or you're just trying to grab them around the waist or grab a jersey, not really trying to get dirty, it looks like you're no good to us unless you're playing with full intensity because you're not a great athlete. And I think that showed in this game. We talked about it in the preview show, Jake. The Packers draft nothing but athletes. Mm-hmm. That really showed up today. I mean, he's got to cover Matthew Golden on a crosser and pick him up. And he's trying to be aggressive, and maybe he can pick this thing off as Jordan Love gets to the outside. But you can't miss. Like Jordan Battle, you do not have the athleticism to miss, be soft, or be slow, or be hesitant. You need to play hard every single time, or I'm ready to draft a strong safety.
You need to be physical, you need to be athletic to be good at safety. I think you need some athleticism at that spot. Speaking of Jordan Battle, the opportunity for the Bengals to get off the field late in this game, when the offense had just converted the 2-point conversion, you have a chance to get the ball back here and maybe go steal one, right? Yeah. You get a 3rd and 9, you manufacture pressure, you get your first sack of the game on the 2nd down. And Cam Taylor-Britt, part of the problem, right? There's a few problems on this defense, right? I think DJ Turner, we'll have to shout out DJ Turner because he was awesome. But yes. There's a problem at linebacker where apparently they just have nothing despite investing there. Those guys just maybe not ready, whatever it is. Cam Taylor-Britt, part of the problem. And Josh Newton, I'm not convinced it gets better if you push Josh Newton out there. You got a problem, I think, with Jordan Battle at this point. This play is going to highlight that to some degree as well. But when you have problems in multiple position groups in your back seven, you don't really have the presence of a pass rush, and we'll see if Shamar Stewart can get back and help this or not. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, who's now hurt, your interior generally, and TJ Slayton's been mostly fine, but your interior is just kind of whatever at best.
Average. Jags.
I wouldn't even say average, to be honest, but maybe my definition of average is a bit too aggressive. But it's just a multi-tier problem, and then you have some schematic issues. Like early in this game, again, we're starting with the 5-man surfaces using a linebacker as the edge guy. You're dropping ends into coverage, and then they stop again. Shocker. I mean, and if you're going to do it, sprinkle it in. I don't understand why it's happening at the beginning of the game, and then we're just going away from it entirely. But that seems to be the trend. But this play, it ends up being what looks like a bit of a poach from the backside safety here, and that's going to be Jordan Battle on the crosser. Cam Taylor-Britt sort of passing it off, knowing he has help. But one, I guess we'll go back to the beginning here real quick.
Cam's pointing right there, right? Is that Cam at the top of the 3 of the corners on our side?
Yeah.
Like instantly, I think he knows what's happening here.
Yeah, that's something. Right. But I wanted to start with Cam Sample on the right side. He's going to get chipped by Tyler Kraft and maybe tripped. I don't know, but he's going to the ground. And so you have no contain on the right side, right? Yep. And so when you don't really get a whole lot of pressure, but maybe push the pocket back a little bit if you're Chris Jenkins, it's just easy for Jordan Love to buy time. Then he can kind of settle in over here, set his feet, and I don't know if we're going to get the replay angle here.
Right.
I don't think we do. But essentially, Battle is on the backside here, cover 3 at the top. Cam Taylor-Britt sort of passing him off a little bit, and Battle sits on it as he's crossing his face. And the idea there is to poach it. If the ball comes out to the crosser, now I have an interception. If the ball comes out early, if the ball comes out quote unquote on time, but Jordan Love seeing it all the way as he's rolling out and has time to wait. When your posture is this way and the guy is running this way across your face on a crosser, the quarterback sees that. All he has to do is wait for him to get across your leverage, and then it's just,
I think Love was just buying time right about now. He sees what he wants to do. Like, oh, I think I can get out here. We can get him across the face of the safety, and he'll be wide open.
Yeah. So, not great. Overall, though, early in the game, again, you have some chances, but setting the first half on fire, tough to come back from that. And the fire was smaller today, I guess. 10-0 instead of game over 0 or whatever the scores have been. But can't keep setting first halves on fire. They got to find ways to come into these games not needing to wait 3 drives to find adjustments that start to work. The defense on the field for 20 of the first 22 minutes of the game, or
slight
embellishment. But yeah, they're going to break at some point. And that happened today. And it's not like it's a great defense in the first place, but when you get the first drive takeaway, you get a punt in the first half, when the offense is dormant during that time, you're making it really hard on yourself.
Yeah, there was a question. I don't know if Matthew understood. Matthew, you said, so who's supposed to be running with Matthew Golden? It's basically you have two outside defenders, and it's a cover three. So you got two guys on the boundary. And as Golden goes from one side, let's see if I can do it. It's in reverse. Okay, from here. As Golden goes across the field, battles over here, he's supposed to pick him up. So no one's running with him. It's not a man coverage, it's zone coverage. And as Golden goes across, he's getting passed off to each defender, and Battle just kind of jumped it rather than sit and wait for his guy. But there is no one there for Cam. If Cam would have kept running with him, I also would have said, yeah, because there's no one else like he should even be worried about there. So that's probably, I don't put it on Cam at all. He did his job. But at the same time, yeah, you would like the pass rush to get home because it's never an issue if they do.
I just remember last year when Cam Taylor-Britt did follow a crosser all the way across the field when everyone else was playing zone, and the poor guy can't win.
Yeah, that's true. But I would like to in-depth shout out DJ Turner. He's been really good this year. The Jags game, he got torched a little bit there, but even then, he had a lot of coverage plays that were really good. Other than some of the ones that where I think De'Ami Brown had a drop that should have been a touchdown. But in this game again, he starts off. He's on fire, man. A couple batted passes or broken up passes on the first drive. One leads to an interception. Way to go for the defense. Get a stop. Maybe this offense can do something. And then he comes back. I want to say he had 4 broken up passes in this game. I don't know if
that's what PFF has it at.
Okay, good. Because the one I checked halfway through the game and I'm like, hey, there was one more you guys didn't give him. I'm glad they have maybe adjusted it by now. So really strong game. 5. Maybe he did, because if he did, really good game for him. It's been all season. Like watching tape of him has been a pleasure, even when he's not being targeted.
Yeah, he was fantastic in this game. And also, the one thing that we've held back with DJ Turner about is the tackling issues, because he hasn't always played super physical in the run game. But today, we got that from him too. Like he did everything. He was one of the better tacklers on the team in this game overall in terms of not missing any tackles, and he had 4 tackles of his own. So there are deep, deep issues with this team right now. The hope that they have is that you want to keep things alive for Joe Burrow to get back earlier than anyone thinks. That's the hope, right? Is that Joe Flacco can go out there and he can beat some of the worst teams coming up in the schedule. The Bengals are through the hardest part of their schedule now, especially with the Ravens being 1-5. I'm sure by the time the Bengals play the Ravens will be at full strength and it'll be terrible.
Of course.
But that's some cynicism coming up because that's the kind of season it's been. They do have some winnable games coming up here and a big one on Thursday night. And that's the hope from the team. And I think if it continues to look the way it's looked, you're going to be hard-pressed to talk your way out of a necessary coaching change. Even if it doesn't continue to look the way it looks, I think you need to have that conversation. And we've had that conversation on this show already this year. And it was really early in the year. But when you run out there looking like you did for 3 weeks, I don't know how it's not a conversation. And then beyond that, I don't know how you even bring this up knowing this team and the way they operate. But I don't know how you don't look at the front office as well and think about changes in the way you're building the team from a personnel perspective.
That'll be a whole conversation, right? Because that is a big thing, and how they're structured really prevents them from even putting a fire under Duke Tobin. And it's a whole conversation. How do you even get there? But I do believe, like someone's already asked, and we're going to tackle this, I assume, for the preview show for the Thursday night game against the Steelers. The season, a lot is riding on this. Like if you're going to have a chance in the AFC North, you probably need to win that game because you need to knock the Steelers down a peg, or else they're going to run away with the division just by being the most average team out of all of them that can keep their head above water, I guess. But if you can knock them down one and get to 3 and 4, and you're like, okay, we've got a chance here. There's some softer teams coming up. We're not playing the whole death row of best pass rushers in the league, over the next month. Maybe the offensive line could be better. Maybe we can get Flacco to be better, and you can climb back in. But again, that'll be the preview show. I'm sure one of the topics will be.
Yeah, many topics that we'll get to in the preview show. I just they have so far to go, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they showed some signs today. Okay, they have so far to go, and that makes it hard to cover, but at least they're more watchable in this game. Joe Flacco did get to the point where like that's all we were looking for at
Yeah.
quarterback. I think it highlighted the need they had at quarterback. It wasn't just garbage time when the offense finally moved. So at least there's that. Last chance to enter that hashtag First Star Logistics for your chance to win the YouTube giveaway. As we're going to get to our giveaway here, as we have one winner from X. Make sure you're following at First Star Log on X on Twitter for all the details, including for any future giveaways. We'll have all the details there. And who do we have as our winner from Twitter, from X?
First one is Ben Matursky, and shout out to Ben. And after 2021, I believe he's a season ticket holder. He sent me this, and I looked it up on Twitter after I saw his name pop up for the winner. That's the AFC Championship ring they gave to season ticket holders. Feels like that was 25 years ago. It was not, but that shout out to Ben. You're the winner from X this week, and we've got one more to give away here.
We've got one more to give away for those of you who have been hanging out in YouTube with us, entering that hashtag First Star Logistics. Let's see who wins the second custom jersey as we'll do our little drum roll.
Who would you pick? If you could have a custom Bengals jersey, put it in the chat. What would you pick? Who would you pick? Are you picking DJ Turner after this one? The winner is Willie. I just saw Willie say something as well.
Oh, we got a sound. Wow. It's not just me banging on my desk. Congrats to Willie. Let us know what player you picked. Not seeing anyone in the chat saying what player they picked. Ken Anderson, Goodberry. We got one person that wants a Goodberry.
You can get a Goodberry jersey. Yes.
Turner, DJ Turner, Taylor Mays. Shout out Tracy McGree in the chat.
Taylor Mays. Yes.
I love that. A black Chase jersey. Burrow, salute the troops. Joe Flacco. All right. We got a Joe Flacco believer out there. That's going to do it for this episode of the Jake and Joe Bengals postgame show. We'll see you back here as we preview Thursday night football. Make sure you're staying tuned on social media so you know exactly when that episode will be up, but we'll make sure that's up for you. Obviously before Friday, so we have a preview show for you for Thursday night football this week. Until then, thanks for watching this episode. Make sure you check out firststarlogistics.com again for all the job postings. Wonderful partner for Joe and I. Maybe they can be for you as well. Find all the job postings there. One of the fastest growing and best companies to work for in the Cincinnati area. Until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the preview.